are you consuming information these days?
Um,
Like, where do you get the majority of your information
Probably social
about?
media, I'd say.
What is the predominant social media that you would use to get your information?
Probably Twitter,
Twitter.
I would say.
Twitter.
Oh, X as it's called.
I mean, that wasn't the issue that I had with it. It was that you were going to the garbage dump to do your grocery
Well,
shopping.
no, but you follow. But I will follow like
Even
journalists
still?
or- yeah, because they'll link to articles that you can read that way. Yeah.
All right.
Or then then there's just sort of news feeds on my phone that it's.
Would you go to a news site? Do you
Yeah.
read a newspaper?
Yeah,
Would
yeah.
you watch the news on television?
No, don't watch news on television. I don't think I cannot remember the last time I watched news on TV.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hmm.
I don't know that I am the majority. Though.
I don't know what people are doing
No.
anymore. That's why I ask out of curiosity, not out of any, because I don't even know where you go to find.
Where do you? So you subscribe to?
I
different news
subscribe to a
sites?
few news sites
Which ones?
that I kind of, well, I
Do you like aggregate sites or
no
or do individual outlets that you
individual.
trust?
So well, I don't necessarily always trust them, but I feel like if I have enough of a, so in a general day, I might read the Herald Sun to see what the tabloidy thing is doing, news.com.au to see what is on Twitter and Facebook and Instagram, because that's all that is, an aggregation side of what's on Twitter and Facebook and TikTok and stuff. I might read The Age, just the Fairfax Melbourne paper, just because I'm based in Victoria, but Sydney Morning Herald or whatever it might be. I would tend to read either The Guardian.
Physical or online?
Nah, all online
Yeah.
now. The Guardian, the New York Times normally is what I will in my daily mix. But then I
Paper
might
of
have
record.
more ones that float in and out, the New Yorker or Jacobin or like the Monthly or some things like that like might be Crikey. I read Crikey a bit.
Yeah.
But like no social media anymore. But I've found even with the news sites, I find, I don't know, like it just feels like even, I don't know. Maybe it's a result of just everything in the world feeling so big and so out of your control
Yeah.
that you're like, what can I do about any of this? I remember when the bushfires happened in Australia, 2019, 2020, right? Remember we did a fundraiser
Yeah.
and it raised over $100,000
Yeah.
for people to help out. And through this podcast, just through this podcast alone, over $100,000 was raised to help people in the bushfires. And yet,
We got criticised as well. I mean, it's great. It's probably the best thing we've ever done in the show. But people were unhappy with the funding group we used.
yeah, I mean,
Like we still got.
of course, people are bad about everything. But I don't even know that if that happened now, people would engage in it in that way.
I don't think so.
Because so much has happened in the world and so many bad things are happening in the world that this idea that people will rally around one particular thing or one particular idea feels 20 years ago,
Yes.
and that was only 5-6 years ago.
I agree. I feel like everyone is very overwhelmed at the moment. I went to something a few days ago and caught up with some friends, and people who travelled in from all over. People who lived in the UK and lived in America were here, and I just was asking. Or we were just as we were talking, and everyone sort of seemed to have the same concerns and anxieties, and like life feels hard at the moment. Everything feels less expensive. You know, people who are renting or people who are homeowners seem to have the same issues with like, I don't know how do
I find a place?
how do I keep a roof over my head?
Yeah.
Like how do I afford groceries? How do I afford this? How do I afford schools? How do I and
no hope that things are going to get easier.
no, but that's
Just
the
that
thing.
feeling that everything is getting exponentially harder and that
And I know-
AI and et cetera is going to make it all harder again.
And I know every generation feels that way. Oh, we're living through the worst time. And then, statistically, apparently, like, it's the safest time we're living in right now. But this is the first time I can recall it being not just like a local issue or an Australian issue. Like it feels global where everyone... Because even my friend who lives in the States is like, oh, so you guys are feeling the same pinch that we're feeling over there. And it's like, yeah, like I think this is it's a global phenomenon right now. As everyone sort of feels on a knife edge. There's so much
almost like the
uncertainty.
entire world went through a huge, like, existence changing once in a generation thing, and then did no work on ourselves to deal with any of the consequences of it, and refuse to even bring it up in conversations around any of these. Like, we keep having all these conversations about, like, it's weird that, like, we all just feel like there's not enough money and everything's unaffordable. It's like, do you reckon it had anything to do with that major thing that we all went through that none of us are talking about anymore?
Yeah. Well, we don't want to talk about it anymore because it was just like, this is the problem though, is when you do try and have any discussions around this stuff, that's when a million voices will pile in with extraneous complaints or things that, you know, are tangentially related to what you're talking about. And the issue gets diluted because everyone has their own perspective on it. And I guess everyone has a megaphone now.
Yeah.
So it's sort of hard to have any kind of clarity around it. Like, it's that classic online example of one person says, you know, aren't horses great? And then 10 people are like, why do you hate cows? It's like, well, that's not what I'm saying. And that's how I feel the discussion is. Like, how do you even approach
but
it?
what is our desire to go online in the first place and say, aren't horses great?
Connection. I feel like there was obviously, like
But don't we know now that if you go on there and say, aren't
Yes.
horses great, people are going to go, you're a Nazi?
I think so. I think more and more people, I feel like what's going to happen, and now that we know about the dead internet and the fact that social media is just filled with bots and that, you know, it's all about engagement and, you know, you post the most innocuous thing and someone's going to attack you or whatever.
But we're living in a world now where people are intentionally making mistakes in their videos, or like,
Are they?
yes, because it feeds engagement.
Right.
So the best way to get someone engaged is do a big spelling mistake or get a fact wrong or whatever. And then everyone in the comments, of course, is like, it was actually blah, 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 that blah, blah, blah. And that drives engagement. So we literally have a monetization model that
It's wrong. Rewards.
Yeah, there's a
mistakes.
reward for getting something wrong.
Boy.
I mean, like, why are we there? Why are we in this place that is clearly, we know, like, there are so many, the internet is only red flags. It is held together by red flags.
But didn't we talk about this last year where we were saying, like, maybe we just let go of this internet? We just,
Yes,
it's
done.
just
Let's start.
funeral it. We just put it off.
Yeah.
Hey, if people want to stay on, but let the bots
You can,
argue with each other.
but we're starting a new internet.
Or no
Yeah,
internet.
Or no internet.
You know?
But maybe what if we just started a new one?
Yeah, that's just
That
like
we're
you
starting
can book
with the
flights
good bits again.
and restaurant reservations.
We've-
That's it. Flights and restaurant
You know what?
reservations.
We'll just take a poll on what the bits of the internet we want to keep are, and then we will just, like, leave. You can still, like, just let the current internet become the dark web.
Yeah.
Everyone relax!